Abstract. An abridgment or summary of a longer publication. First attested around 1350 to 1470. Something that concentrates in itself the qualities of a larger item, or multiple items. First attested in the mid-16th century. An abstraction, an abstract term, that which is abstract. First attested in the mid-16th century. The theoretical way of looking at things, something that exists only in idealized form. First attested in the early 17th century. Art, an abstract work of art. First attested in the early 20th century. Real estate, a summary title of the key points detailing a tract of land, for ownership, abstract of title. Obsolete, derived, extracted. Attested from around 1350 to 1470 until the late 15th century. Now rare, drawn away, removed from, apart from, separate. First attested around 1350 to 1470. Not concrete, conceptual, ideal. First attested around 1350 to 1470. Difficult to understand, abstruse, hard to conceptualize. First attested around 1350 to 1470. Separately expressing a property or attribute of an object that is considered to be inherent to that object, attributive, ascriptive. First attested around 1350 to 1470. Pertaining comprehensively to, or representing, a class or group of objects, as opposed to any specific object, considered apart from any application to a particular object, general, generic, nonspecific, representational. First attested by Locke in 1689. Archaic, absent-minded. First attested in the early 16th century. Art, pertaining to the formal aspect of art, such as the lines, colors, shapes, and the relationships among them. First attested in the mid-19th century. Insufficiently factual. Apart from practice or reality, vague, theoretical, impersonal, not applied. Grammar, as a noun, denoting an intangible as opposed to an object, place, or person. Computing, of a class in object-oriented programming, being a partial basis for subclasses rather than a complete template for objects. Transitive, to separate, to disengage. First attested around 1350 to 1470. Transitive, to remove, to take away, withdraw. First attested in the late 15th century. Transitive, euphemistic, to steal, to take away, to remove without permission. First attested in the late 15th century. Transitive, to summarize, to abridge, to epitomize. First attested in the late 16th century. To conceptualize an ideal subgroup by means of the generalization of an attribute, as follows: by apprehending an attribute inherent to one individual, then separating that attribute and contemplating it by itself, then conceiving of that attribute as a general quality, then despecifying that conceived quality with respect to several or many individuals, and by then ideating a group composed of those individuals perceived to possess said quality. Transitive, obsolete, to extract by means of distillation. Attested from the early 17th century until the early 18th century. Transitive, to consider abstractly, to contemplate separately or by itself, to consider theoretically, to look at as a general quality. First attested in the early 17th century. Intransitive, reflexive, literally, figurative, to withdraw oneself, to retire. First attested in the mid-17th century. Transitive, to draw off, interest or attention. Intransitive, rare, to perform the process of abstraction. Intransitive, fine arts, to create abstractions. Intransitive, computing, to produce an abstraction, usually by refactoring existing code. Generally used without A B S T R A C T abstract.